Daryl, Bryony and Nola share other tips on giving successful evaluations.
Now, to consolidate the wealth of information we've just discussed, may I kindly request a really quick 30 seconds if you may. Daryl, tips for Sebastian about using notes when evaluating. Start now.
Okay, everyone does it differently. What I do is I get my page, line down the middle, I capture some notes on the left-hand side, and if things of improvement as the speech goes along, I put on the right-hand side. That's it.
Nala, what key aspect do you consider when evaluating the title of a speech?
Oh,
you go.
I think speakers really need to know how important a title is. I love titles, and I think an opportunity to impress and to connect is lost with many people who do not have an intriguing or a memorable title to their speech.
Awesome. Thank you, Nola. Bryony, as an evaluator, what aspects should Sebastian focus on when evaluating an introduction of Mia's speech?
There are two key things I'd be looking at the introduction. First of all, does it engage the audience? Now, there's obviously different ways to do this, but for example, he could say, when was the last time you told someone that you loved them? So basically ask a question and it immediately gets the audience thinking about what you're about to say. The other thing is, does the introduction set the tone for the rest of the speech? In other words, does it flow through? And so, for example, if it's a humorous speech, I would be looking for some element of humor in that first introduction.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you, Bryony. So attention grabbing, and if it's humorous, make some jokes at the beginning. Grab their attention. Thank you, Bryony. Now, Daryl, back to you now. How about the body of the speech? What aspect should Sebastian focus on when evaluating the body of the speech?
Well, the body of the speech, exciting, isn't it? It's first of all, the core, the concept, like Nola said about the title. Is it matching the title? You know, some titles are curiosity, some are just out there. This is what I'm going to talk about. So, is it matching as the speech flows along? And you can tell by the audience whether the body of his speech or your story is capturing the audience.
All right, thank you. Yes, thank you, Daryl. Nola, what aspect should Sebastian consider when evaluating the message of Mia's speech? So Daryl discussed the body. Now this one is about the message. What aspect should Sebastian consider when evaluating the message of Mia's speech?
There are a lot of speeches that I have evaluated that have no message whatsoever. And I think this aspect of speech writing could be enhanced by a lot of Toastmasters. I think they put words together, they come up with a title and think that's clever, and then they come up with the body and the opening, and then they come up with a conclusion, but they don't look carefully enough to see whether they flow and whether in fact it has any message at all. And to have a call of action at the very end is not really, in my view, a message, so to speak, because if it's not supported by the opening and the body of the speech, putting it in the end does not make it a message. I think it's an overlooked part, and our new Sebastian, if he misses the point of the message, I think he can be forgiven. We need to keep emphasizing that this is a learning curve and he's on the first part of the curve.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Nola. Now, Bryony, do you have any tips for Sebastian, our evaluator, when assessing Mia's use of language and grammar? Bryony.
First of all, grammar. Obviously, it's important to use correct grammar. If something's not quite right, then it kind of can really sort of grate on the ear, you know, of the listener, and that can be distracting. That said, I would be thinking about the person speaking, because we do have a lot of people in our clubs for whom English is not their first language. And honestly, hats off to them. I wouldn't be regularly speaking a foreign language. So I think, you know, especially in a club situation, it's important just to bear that in mind. But as far as possible, considering the speaker and their abilities, think about the use of grammar. And then second of all, just as a language, does it make us feel good? Does it put us in the picture of what's being talked about? Can we really call up the scene being described? Language can be so evocative. So just generally speaking, what does he think around that?
Oh, thank you, Breoni. Now, finally, Daryl, what advice would you offer Sebastian regarding what he should be observing in Mia's speech conclusion?
Don't you like that?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go back to the pyramids. So she's been talking about the pyramids and the experience of the pyramids. And Sebastian would be evaluating, okay, well, why should I go to the pyramids? And a simple little thing like it could be, Mia, I love the way you asked the whole audience, when was the last time you even traveled?
Just call to action.
And not really a talk, just a thought, just a thought, doesn't
a suggestion.
And it may not even be travel. It might be something that's creating a trigger for when was the last time you traveled to see your parents overseas because you hadn't seen them for such a long time? The Egypt travel could have been doing that. She might have built that into the body.
Yes. Thank you, Daryl. So something that will make your audience think after you finish your speech.
Your little gem.
Yes, those gems. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nola, Breoni, and Daryl for your invaluable contributions to today's panel discussions.